Greetings folks, I have finally finished the build of the 2 metre resilience RES glider from Heinemann Flugmodelbau. I've been building this over the last 2 weeks, pretty solid. Just about every day I've been working on it. It's probably the most involved build I've ever done, but it is an absolutely magnificent looking plane. It is rudder, elevator and spoilers, no ailerons, so it's a real thermal floater or light weather slope soarer, which is how I'll be using it. My all up weight balanced at the suggested beginner's centre of gravity, which is 72 millimeters back from the leading edge. My all up weight was about 470 grams. The build instructions say you could get it to 420 grams, but there's no way I could do that with my battery and getting that CG. I think that CG is a fair way forward, so eventually I'll be able to take out some of the extra nose weight. I had to add about 50 grams of extra nose weight, as well as the little 302S Lipo that I've got in the nose there. But it's still a super lightweight and beautifully slim, streamlined, gorgeous looking RES glider. I'll just finish off showing you the build photos, getting up to this stage. Next thing to do is go for a fly. At the moment the wind is way too strong, so I can't do that yet. So we're just going to wait for a nice calmish day with a nice light onshore breeze. If it's calm enough I can go out into a footy field and just give it a throw and see how it performs just on a glide test, but I'd really love to throw it off a slope in a nice gentle 5-knot breeze. So this is the stage we're up to at the end of the last part 2. Surfaces have built, fuselage is built, hasn't been fed down yet. So moving on, this is fitting the push rods, and I had to drill out those holes or just ream out those holes a little bit more to allow me to push the push rod casings through there. And in that they thread down the tail boom, and the build instructions say you need to glue foam onto the pushrod casings every 50 millimeters or so to stop them from moving around. I wasn't confident of my ability to glue the foam onto the pushrod casings without gluing the pushrod casings to the tube and only getting them halfway down. So I just sort of stuffed the little foam cylinders in at different points down the tube, and this is how I cut them out. I used the cut-off piece of tail boom, which can cut a nice little cylinder of foam out. This is what they look like, and I made up a plunger and sort of pushed those little foam things down in between the push rods just to stabilise them inside the tail boom. That seemed to work pretty well. Then sanded down the nose and the back section of the fuselage and covered it with white Profilm, and started covering the flying surfaces as well. And this is transparent violet Profilm and looks sensational, I think. I toyed with having white on the front of the leading edge and then violet below, but I've never done that before. My mate Alan was going to help me with it, but or show me how to do it, but I thought I'd just keep it all one colour, just to make it look a bit different to the original. These are CA hinges, just lining them up to make the hinges. There you can see how it looks looking through the beautiful violet Profilm, and cutting slices in the elevator here on the horizontal stabilizer for the CA hinges for the elevator. There we go there. I've got 3 on each side. So just cut slots in either side of the hinge, push them into the slots, and then just a couple of drops of CA glue wick into the balsa and glue them into position. Using some of the Profilm to hinge the spoilers, strip on the top and a strip underneath as well. These K8 bits are optional to close in the back of the spoiler box. I decided to put them in just for extra strength, but you don't have to. And the spoiler servos, I actually changed servos to these Turnigy D56MG because they're high voltage, and that means that all my servos are now high voltage, so I can just use a 2S Lipo to power them directly without having to use a voltage regulator or a BEC. And it's a bit tricky to sort of get the length of the servo arm and the positioning correct so that it operates the spoiler up to 90 degrees. But what I did was print these little extended servo arm covers with a little backwards knob on them, like that. Pretty easy 3D print job, and that makes them work beautifully now. And just some acrylic paint to make the horizontal stabilizer pedestal black. There's the tail surfaces mounted up and looking pretty cool. And the pushrod connection there, I just went for an L bend and glued on a little bit of pushrod casing there to stop it popping out. And fitting everything inside, these are the little MKS HV70 servos, fitting in nicely. There's an ELRS, I think it's an ER6G from Radio Master, perfect little receiver for this glider. And here's the little 302S Lipo fitting into the nose there. Carved out a little bit of the sides here because these, if they're even slightly puffy, they wouldn't fit in there. Nanotech 300 mAh 2S, and that's the only battery that I could find that would fit in there. There's more space, but there's just no batteries that sort of fit that space really. So if I was going to make a mod, I would add a little bit more space in the nose for a bigger battery, maybe 4 AA's or something like that, because we already need extra weight in there. We might as well have it as milliamp hours of battery rather than just lead. But anyway, I am a bit concerned about how long these things are going to last. I use them in my discus launch glider, and I have had a sort of an hour-long session with a discus launch glider, but the battery was absolutely dead then, so I'm going to have to do some tests to see how long these things are going to last. There it is, sort of fitting in there, and I've had to add an extra 50 grams of pieces of lead in there. I actually cut off the nose, gouged out the nose so that I can push things further down, so there's a little bit of fiddling there. On to covering the wing, and I'm not much of a coverer, but by the end of it I was quite happy with my job. And a full 2 metre roll of Profilm, barely made it. I was this short. I did have some scraps left over, so I could just put a patch in there, but yeah, 2 metres, all of one colour, and you will make it, but you have to be careful. So there it is, all finished, all together. Really happy with the result. I think it's a beautiful looking glider, and just waiting for the weather to calm down now. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.